for violence or communism or killing police or, you know, throwing Molotov cocktails. So what they do with the Democrats is they created Occupy knowing there was anger at corruption in Wall Street. They didn't want it to be legitimate, reform the Federal Reserve or get rid of it. They wanted it to be communism's the answer. You know, capitalism caused the Wall Street crisis. No, crony, insider, basically fascist capitalism or insider rigged capitalism caused it. So the Democrats and the Soros group promoted Occupy, got a bunch of people out there that were legitimately angry. But when the Democrats couldn't turn it into a political army, they flushed it. 36 cities, was it 37, in one night were raided viciously by the police under federal control. Because, again, the feds won't come after your city and call you racist or whatever if you let them be in command. That's how this works. And it was leaked by WikiLeaks. The FBI confirmed it was accurate. The FBI had snipers there waiting for the order to kill all the Occupy leaders. Nonviolent. And they were given a presidential authorization to murder all the leaders. Now, you think about that. And they didn't do it this time. They were seeing what the FBI would do when they dispatched their sniper teams. And you know what? They followed the orders. They dispatched sniper teams to 30-plus cities and trained guns on the Occupy useful idiots on average and were prepared to kill them. And when I went around to Occupy events with my, in the Fed rallies, I did 3 in Texas, their grassroots liked me and were like, yeah, Federal Reserve, we should get rid of it. But their leaders were all snarling Ford Foundation commies. And they knew exactly what they were doing. So those wouldn't be the leaders that were going to be sniped. It was leaders in Occupy that they didn't control. So you want to know what happens in a civil war? When the globalists launch their Night of the Long Knives putsch, I'll talk about it coming up. Appreciate your call, Nicholas. Wild man in Texas, you're on the air.
Hey, God bless you, brother. Appreciate everything.
Appreciate you.
My line was drawn. I mean, I've been upset or outraged at the establishment for years since I watched steel mills go down and stuff like that. And but my line was drawn when my wife died of ALS. She was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré in 2010. And February, they re-diagnosed her with ALS. And she passed away Memorial Day of 2013, and she was 53 years old. And I took care of her here in my house, and I watched her go downhill, and I took off work so I could take care of her because I wouldn't put her in a home. But she could not bear children, and she was lived in South Korea. Her dad was in the military. And so she got all these inoculations back then when she was a child. She was actually kicked out of South Korea because of some stuff. She was pretty wild, but she was my co-partner, wild woman. Anyway, so when that happened, I started investigating what she had, trying to figure out what she had. And then Sandy Hook came about, and that's incidentally how I found you, or InfoWars. And I'm agreeing with you. I don't want to do anything violent. I don't think that would be the answer right at this point. I won't become violent until they try to take me to some camp or put me somewhere or one of my grandkids or somebody where we're not supposed to be.
And here's the problem. They're going to lose a peaceful revolution with us of ideas. So they're going to try to give the orders to the police and the social workers that will cause good men to start fighting. And you've hit the nail directly on the head here. I started the broadcast with the Sydney Morning Herald. Flu's vaccine death toll rises in Italy to 13. I guarantee it's a lot higher than that. Ladies and gentlemen, ALS, Lou Gehrig's, Guillain-Barré, you can look at the numbers. They try to hide them, but it is tens of thousands of percentage higher. When Lou Gehrig had Lou Gehrig's, it was so rare it didn't have a name. Now, I go in restaurants, I see people, kids are shaking, young women are shaking. Half the women, it seems I know, have got like colon cancer, lung cancer, young people. I mean, I go see kids at sporting events. They look like they've been hit by a mutation ray. And the line in the sand here is, I'm going to skip this network break. This is so important with the caller. Don't hang up, Wild Man. Is that it's all find the cure for ALS. It's all find the cure for breast cancer. Why? Never a discussion of why is it exponentially rising. Well, glyphosates grow breast cancers and grow prostate cancers, and it's in every water supply in the country. Every water supply is contaminated. Every one. Well water, aquifer, city water, it's full of it. Estrogen. That's what glyphosate is. Chemical estrogen to kill plants. And it bioaccumulates. You wonder why men look like women and are fat no matter how much they exercise? You want to know why men's genitals are shriveling and women's are growing larger? Because you're basically on steroids. You're on a sterol. It's all a sick joke in Ecoscience written by the White House science czar laughing at you and your family. And I can hear how much you loved your wife, sir. It makes me want to throw up to think about all the things they're doing to us. We are seen as a scourge by the elite. We're being soft-killed. The problem is if they give 40 homeless people a flu vaccine in one Czech Republic or one Polish homeless center and 22 of them die, type in 20, I think it was 22. 20 homeless die after flu shot. In one facility. Now, see, that's a batch a little too strong. You're meant to go off and die 20 years later. You're meant to crawl off and die 5 years later. I mean, I know all these veterans, people who have served 3 tours, 5 tours, 10 tours, I mean, more. There it is, London Telegraph. Homeless people die after bird flu vaccine trial in Poland. And what's the number that died? 21 people died. Okay, I said 22. Pretty good memory. That was from 2008. I think another article said like 25, one said 22. That's why I'm saying that, but 21, excuse me. Now, they tell the doctors now, if somebody collapses in the hospital, we've got to admit it's the vaccine. Hope it happens that night. And usually you put your 18-month-old Billy or Jenny down. They say, I love you, Daddy. I love you, Mommy. You read them books. They're running around. You wake up in the morning, and they don't talk for a couple days, and they got a fever. And then afterwards, they're gone. They've been wiped. It was just meant to brain damage them, the autoimmune response. And I was on the elliptical last week, and it made me so angry. They had a woman on CBS morning show, whatever those are, the national show. And I happen to be monitoring that globalist transmission, all the hype and product placement. And they had this woman on. I was reading the teleprompter, you know, reading the closed captioning. I didn't have the audio on. And it was like she was happy. She was 40. Their daughter was 3. She was a beautiful woman, and you know she was a fitness enthusiast and had a great corporate job. And it was like this good-looking, happy woman with her child and living the dream. And then something happened, and certainly her feet were numb and her hands were numb. And then it got worse, and then now she's got a tracheotomy on a breathing machine, and it shows her sitting there, and she'll be dead soon. And I went brain inflammation. From vaccines, and they cut to a CAT scan, a brain scan, going, they don't know why ALS is up and what's causing the inflammation here on the brain that causes the brain damage. And they never said, but I'll bet you my right hammer, 100%, if I could talk to that woman. In fact, I took screenshots on my phone. It's actually on my phone if you go through them from like a week ago. And we maybe have somebody find that episode and contact that woman. I bet $10,000. In fact, I want to fly her here and pay her to come, because I know they may be politically correct and don't want to admit it. Because you're supposed to be cheerful and just let them kill you. I guarantee you he took a flu shot or a Gardasil or something, because I've seen it thousands of times. Mystery illness paralyzing kids in Colombia. Mystery illness paralyzing kids in Mexico. Mystery illness paralyzing kids in America. Mystery illness paralyzing kids in Canada, Poland, Germany, Russia, Nigeria, Japan. Japan and India have basically banned giving kids vaccines. The Japanese go, we give our kid this, they don't talk again. The Indians, for all their problems, banned Gardasil 4 years ago. That's a country where they forcibly sterilize women. And the Indians said, this doesn't just sterilize them, it makes women really sick. That's immoral. We'll grab women off the streets and sterilize them, but we won't want to soft kill them. Fox News, mom blames daughter's paralysis on flu shot. I know 2 Austin talk show hosts. One of them even routinely attacks me now for no reason. I don't even going to say their names. I don't even care. I'm eating dinner with them probably 10 times, known them for 15 years or more. And one of the last times I was in there on the show, he goes, yeah, no, you're right. I took the flu shot, and my hands and feet were numb for 3 months, and I went to the doctor, and he said, no, you have Guillain-Barré from the shot. And then I'm told every week by people he just trashes me. All because one time I was behind the stage, and he knows Joe Rogan too, and we're back there, and we're arguing about JFK, and Joe kind of got in his face in front of his wife, and man, he got really upset and kind of ran out. So he didn't want to believe JFK was killed by more than one person, and he also knows he got Guillain-Barré that luckily went away, may come back. See, if you just get your hands and feet numb, oh, well, that's all right, huh? How about being on a breathing machine, So they call it ALS. They call it early onset of Alzheimer's, all these neurological disorders. You and I are being murdered. And by the way, you know how this works? There's probably a cop listening to us right now in Kansas City or Oklahoma City or Chicago or somewhere else around the country. And they're thinking this guy's extreme and isn't as bad as he says. And that cop's wife's going to take their son in for a shot next week. And Bobby or David or whatever his name is going to have a convulsion at night and maybe have blood come out of his nose. And then the CPS is going to come and ask the officer, did you shake your kid? And he's going to say no. And then your son's going to be in diapers for the rest of his life. He was catching a football at a 1.5 years old. He's going to sit there and yell at you with autism thousands of times a day for the rest of your life. Because you believed in the satanic devil system. And people don't care. They'll still bring their kids in there, and they'll line them up and take those shots all day long. And then I'm the bad guy for not believing in the system. It's not that vaccines couldn't be somewhat safer and effective. If there's a deadly pathogen out there and you can attenuate it, it's proven it can teach your body how to beat it. Just like eating local honey with allergies did better for me than Claritin or bee pollen locally. That's an inoculation. The old-timers said, you're allergic to something, eat more of it. They used to make grass tea, if folks had hay fever. They'd take the stuff out of the fields, brew it up, and you'd take it. Vaccination isn't just 500 years old from the smallpox vaccine they invented in England. It's thousands of years old. I believe in it. This isn't vaccines, ladies and gentlemen. This is social engineering. And this is a real man who called in, whose wife died slowly, painfully. Imagine hands and feet start getting numb. Can't move your limbs. Oh, my gosh, now you can't walk right. Now all of a sudden you can't move your body. Now it's all the way up to your head, and you're breathing, and people are changing your diaper every day. You're 42 years old. The New World Order deep sixed you, hits you and hits you hard, and it's going to go on hurting you until you wake up. New York Daily News about 7 years ago. I cried when I read it. CPS finally had a heart. The CPS went and reported that they take little black kids to pesticide facilities where they test drugs and pesticides, and how the 7-year-old fought for his life and tried to break out, so they strapped the little black boy down and fed him pesticide intravenously until he died, and no one got in trouble. Now, if I saw people rioting over that, I might join them. But they better be tearing the people that did it limb from limb. Do you understand that? Excuse me. It really gets to me, folks. Wild man, finish your story. We're going to break here. Finish your story.
Yeah, you just like you said, it started with her feet, and when she finally went, she was on a ventilator and belly feeding through a tube, and I had to take care of her that way, and everything quit working but her brain.
Oh, God.
And she would ask me, she'd say, Daddy, when am I going to die? And I just have to tell her, when am I going to die? I don't know. But we're not dead right now, so let's make the best of it we can. And when she passed away, I was whispering in her ear, I will see you again. This ain't goodbye. This is just see you later.
Oh, my God.
And ever since that time, I guarantee you that there is no way. The way I'm fighting it right now is I go out and I tell everybody about InfoWars. I became a member.
Stay there. I'm going to have you finish up. That's why I don't care about the death threats and the dirty tricks and any of it. Big deal the New World Order kills me. They're murdering everybody through the vaccines and the food, folks. Who cares if they kill one of us? We got to stop them.
We're on the